In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Veni Sancte Spiritus,
Replet tuorum codificerum, et tui amoris in nisi accende,
emite Spiritum Tuum et
creabunt, et manibabis facium terrae.
Oremus, Deus que corda fidelium Sancti Spiritus illustratione doquisti, da nobis in in spiritu recta sapere, et ego semper consolatione gaudere, per Christum Dominum nostrum.
Amen.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee, blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of the womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Sacred Heart of Jesus,
Mercy on us.
Immaculate Heart of Mary,
Pray for us.
Sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Saint Joseph,
Pray for us.
Saint John the Baptist,
Pray for us.
Saint Pius X,
Pray for us. Okay, this is the one conference in the retreat that Father and I have every year open to both of us discussing, and because the crisis is so serious and so grave. And today, this morning, was issued an excommunication by, in quotes, excommunication by Pope Leo XIV through Cardinal Victor Emmanuel Fernandez, who writes pornographic books, supports the LGBTQ farce and immorality. So he's the one that issued this excommunication, which is a joke. The excommunication was leveled against all the bishops, all the members, and all the faithful. And they even went further and declared that the Society of St. Pius X sacraments would be illicit and even invalid in some cases. So it's really, even the schism of the Greeks and the Byzantines didn't go this far. So it's an obvious persecution on tradition. It's true that the bishop's consecrations was necessary. There's no doubt about that. But it's the doctrinal position of the SSPX that's troublesome. So you have on the board a kind of a quick summary of the last, since the 90s, the Greek movement. 2006, the overthrow of the principle, no practical agreement until there's a doctrinal agreement with Rome. Bishop Fillet overthrew that. 2010, well, firstly, over here, in the year 2000 was the meeting of the bishops with Cardinal Castro in Hoyos. 2006, the overthrow of that principle, doctrine first. 2007, Summorum Pontificum, releasing of the Latin Mass, but it was not genuine because you had to accept the new Mass as the condition with the bishop's permission, the modernist bishops. 2009, the lifting of the so-called Excommunications of 88, which was null and void by canon law. There was no excommunications. And Archbishop Lefebvre considered it a badge of honor. And all the priests used to. 2010, the dialogues with SSPX and Modernist Rome resume. 2011, Bishop Galarreta condemns the doctrinal declaration, then called the preamble. He calls it a Pandora's box, which will open loss of faith, divisions, and confusion. Father Michel Glaise basically says, they're on FM, we're on AM. We can't even share the same meanings of words because they're so modernist. Father Glaise was at the doctrinal discussions. Vatican 2012 is the Vatican II Part B in the Society of St. Pius X, with the compromises proven by the General Chapter Statement, which said we're ready for normalization. The 6 conditions for the agreement with Modernist Rome, that gave 6 flimsy, laughable conditions. And the terrible doctrinal declaration of April 15th, 2012, which was exactly 100 years after the sinking of the Titanic, of interest. Bishop Williamson is expelled that year, and then the letter of the three bishops to Bishop Follet saying basically, turn around. This is the wrong direction. It goes against our founder. 2013, the June letter of Bishop Follet to Benedict XVI, we are fully determined to work out our collaboration. 2015, the celebration of 50 years of Vatican II. Pope Francis grants so-called jurisdiction. They no longer have a state of emergency. He gives them jurisdiction for confessions, marriages, and holy orders at the price of silence. So they tone it down about Vatican II and the new Mass. 2015 to 25, Bishop Williamson starts promoting novelties of the new Mass miracles, new Mass gives grace, and new Mass can nourish your faith, etc. And now, 2024 to 2026, today, SSPX accepts the practical applications of the new Code of Canon Law by relaxing the Friday abstinence, the communion fast to 1 hour, Ascension Thursdays, which is a holy day of obligation in the United States, which is the Novice Order bishops transfer it to Sunday, from Thursday to Sunday. So the SSPX starts doing this here at St. Mary's, Florida, and in Los Gatos, California, and other parishes. They declare the Novice Ordo confirmations last year and holy orders as valid and reduced the practice of conditional ordinations of the Novice Ordo and conditional confirmations. All marriages now are recorded and sent to the local diocesan bishops. This becomes SSPX policy, etc. 2026 yesterday, July 1st, consecration of 4 new bishops in Econ. Today, July 2nd, 2026, the excommunications are declared by Cardinal Victor Emmanuel Fernandez, a heretic and supporter of LGBTQ, whatever it is. He says all are saved. That's his teaching. Well, and we obviously accept Lefebvre's. Excommunications extend to all SSPX priests, members, and faithful. Conclusion, Archbishop Lefebvre, in this all, he's proven right once again. And the Catholic resistance is proven right also, and we continue. So will the SSPX wake up? Will they come back to the Archbishop Lefebvre's position? Father,
Yes.
what are your...
Yes, it's very interesting all that. I think fundamentally the decision to make bishops it can be good to provide sure sacraments and for the future. That is a good decision, I think.
Yeah.
Everybody
Hear this? Can you hear in the back? So Father saying the 4 bishops consecrated, that was necessary. That's in itself is a good thing, obviously, to ensure the true sacraments.
and they must now this evenement of his communication can help them to understand that they now do the good way in many years with the filed politic and diplomacy of Bishop Follet. That no works, and now we see that no works, and because there is no results, there no fruits after the conversion of Rome, that he promotes the enthusiasm for the faithful, for the priests, and they promote that illusion that Rome is in the process of conversion.
Okay, everyone follow. So Bishop Follet was enthusiastically spreading since 2000, mid-90s really, that Rome is converting, signs that Rome, we have friends in Rome, and all his policies have failed. All his policies of compromise have proven a huge failure now.
There is no conversion in Rome. There is no amelioration. There's
no conversion of Rome, and there's no sweetening or making any peace. Rome has just cut them off.
It's I say worse, the situation of Rome,
there is, and it's not better. It's more bad.
Yeah, Rome is worse than ever with ecumenism and religious liberty and apostasy.
And there are no fruits of this diplomacy of, how I said, 30 years, 20 years after 2000, maybe before with the Greek.
Yes.
We don't see fruits of this politic of Bishop Philip. And now they was excommunicated by the church in they trust. They want to they trust in the church that are the conciliar church, and they make confusion to the visible church, and they trust in the church, and now this church excommunicate them.
Yeah, Bishop Follet dropped the distinction between conciliar church and Catholic church, which Bishop Lefebvre always kept, the distinction. And now the conciliar church that Bishop Follet so much wanted to be in union with now excommunicates him, the conciliar church.
And now they are in the, how to say, in a trap, and need to the solution by the absurd, how to say, the conclusion by the absurd. How do you say in English?
Conclusion per absurdum, conclusion through the absurdity of the situation.
And they must now to take there is no other way that return to the ancient position of the society, the fight for the doctrine, the fight for the against the errors of Vatican, to denounce the Council. But the homily of Father Pagliarani, he insists many in the question of the faith. That is true. He insists and not compromise the faith and the word. That is okay. But they never speak about the errors of Council. Never speak about the new mass and the state of the heresy of the new popes. They say many heresies. They promote the LGBT. Yeah. They promote many things that are abnormal. They don't speak about that. It's not only the liberals. They want to speak the well, but not want to denounce the error and the promotion of errors. The person that promote the errors, that is too necessary. And that was the spirit of the church, and all the councils did not only say the truths, but always they denounce the error and the names of the persons that promote the errors. That is the practice of the church 20 cycles.
Yeah, for 20 centuries, the Catholic Church has always condemned heresy, error, and named often the heretics or promoters of error. Now the SSPX finds itself in a trap where they're kicked out of their conciliar church they dreamed of being united with, and now hopefully they will just come back to the position of Archbishop Lefebvre, which is the doctrinal position which, thanks to God and Our Lady, the Catholic resistance has held. We've held that position of Archbishop Lefebvre. So we hope this will be a wake-up call for the leaders come back to the doctrinal fight of the faith. Will they? That's the big question.
And this to return to the fight of Bishop Lefebvre, because the Econ was founded to make the fight in the combats of the council. That is the reason of the foundation of Econ, and the reason of the foundation of the society. But they are modify these fights for a fight light, no? A fight. There is not the same position that Bishop Lefebvre, but they don't want to recognize that. And you need to see the book of the book of Itinerarium Spirituale, the declaration of Bishop Lefebvre. We need to take distance with the conciliar church if you want to conserve the faith. And
Yeah.
they make the contrary process to go to Rome, and we see many bad fruits, bad decisions in
Yeah.
these years.
Does everybody know what a cone is? A cone, E-C-O-N-E. It's the little town in the mountains in Switzerland where Archbishop Lefebvre built the seminary. He bought an old monastery and it turned it into the seminary. So that's what he means by a cone. So the Archbishop's fight was always doctrinal, and the SSPX changed the fight to be more practical, so we can get the agreement without settling first the doctrinal points of the faith, which are the most important on the faith. So,
Yes, and the nourish the many illusion in the faithful, like the mass of the indult. They say is make. He want to all the priests chant Te Deum, but this concession is destined of initium of the beginning to be destroyed, because it's a concession made to destroy the mass traditional, because it's tolerated. They say in the document, and they nourish a illusion in the priest, in the faithful, that is not realistic. No, that no works. We see now that no works. Is a concession destined from the outset to despair. The concession.
yeah, so in 2007, with Summorum Pontificum, remember Pope Benedict XVI released the Latin Mass, but the conditions were you had to obey your bishop, so you couldn't say it unless the bishops gave you permission, which in general they didn't, and you had to accept that the new Mass is mutually enriching, to use his words, with the Tridentine Mass. So there's no way we can say that the new Mass is legitimate, let alone equal to the Tridentine Mass. So you had to compromise, and Bishop Fillet celebrated this by having the Te Deum sung all over the world, and it proved to be, like Father says, a total delusion. He fostered all these hopes that Rome will come back to tradition and society will be recognized and will finally convert Rome from within. But Archbishop Lefebvre was much wiser, and he said, you can't convert them from within because the superiors form the inferiors. So that's why in the book Spiritual Journeys, Archbishop Lefebvre cautions all of us, if priests and the faithful want to stay Catholic, we must separate ourselves from this conciliar church. Those are the words he uses. They're strong words. Separate ourselves from the conciliar church.
Yes, and by this diplomacy liberal, because it's not diplomacy Catholic, against Rome, they make the omission of a part of the teaching of Bishop Lefebvre against Rome, against the errors of Rome. And the one part of doctrine were obscuris, they are obscure, not more clear. No more clear. One part of the teaching of Bishop Lefebvre is no more evident. And you see the homily of Father Pagliarani, they see beautiful words, but where is the fight against the errors? Where is the denunciation of Council Vatican II? Where is the accusation of the persons that promote the errors of the church, the popes? And Bishop Lefebvre always give the names of the popes that promote the council, that promote the destruction of the church. They say clearly. And that now they don't want to say the names. They don't want to say the Council Vatican II is bad. It's not Catholic. They don't want. They don't want to say the conciliar church is not the Catholic church. It's not. It's another thing. And the Catholic Church are infiltrated by the Conciliar Church. They don't want to say more that. And they make obscurity of one part of doctrine by the reasons of diplomacy, the reasons of, you say, methods, liberal methods. Because the methods liberal are not the same that the methods Catholic to promote the faith. The Catholic liberals want to utilize too much the compromise with the word, with the spirit of the word, and that is the method liberal, and they accepted the word, and that is a problem. And now they can verify that no works, no fruits, and now are excommunicated, and don't have other way. That is difficult for them to find justify all many years of violent diplomacy against Rome.
Basically, Bishop Fillet, the mud has splashed all over his face. In other words, that he tried all these years to make get agreement with Rome, get recognition, set up the personal prelature, signing the 6 conditions. He, at the price of kicking out many priests of the society, silencing them, punishing them. And now it's all exploded in his face. And it's all the liberal concessions of the liberal way of dealing is to tone down the truth, to hide the truth or not give complete truth. And now all of it has just failed. It just blew up in his face with this. Obviously, it's a phony excommunication, but it just shows Rome is not converted. Rome can care less about tradition. They want to crush Catholic tradition. But the Bishop Fillet, it's all backfired on him. And the price is costly to tone down the truth. While Archbishop Lefebvre, on the other hand, just read anything of his. He calls out the wolves, they're by name. He calls out the errors, Vatican II, the new Mass, the new Code. He defends Christ the King and all the true doctrines. And his position was correct. Separate ourselves from modernist Rome, pray for them so that Rome come back to tradition. Now Bishop Fillet, he's caught with his mud in his face. So
And
right now, hopefully the society, they'll come back to the position of Archbishop Lefebvre. That's what we can hope for. Which means they'll have to receive you, Father, as being right all these years. They'll have to accept that you were right all these years, resisting Bishop Fillet's compromises.
We see that there is no fruits in the diplomacy of society, and now they are in the situation that they don't have solutions. They are the rupture against Rome. But what will be the new diplomacy today after these excommunications? We can see what will be the new attitude of the superiors of society. We hope that help them and the beginning a new time for a time for the society, a new epoch, you say, a new that can be good for the society if they understand the lesson. It's a lesson. As God give them this lesson that the politic not say all the truth, not say all the doctrine, not denounce all the errors, works. It no works. We see that no works. And now they are excommunicated. And with the faithful. And that maybe they can come back to the fight doctrinal, come back to be more clear in his teachings, and like Bishop Lefebvre. Because they speak always like well of Bishop Lefebvre, but they don't have the same attitude. It's not true. And that is the good question, and we can pray for that they convert to the tradition.
Because many priests, some people would come and would say, what about Father Ruiz and Father Hewko? Can we go to their mass? And they would say, oh no, they're vagus, they're vagabonds, don't go to their mass. Because this is SSPX priests, because we're recognized now, we have jurisdiction, so now we're official. But don't follow those vagabond priests. Well, what do they say now? They're all vagabonds. So, as we were joking earlier, that we are more recognized as priests than they are now.
Yes.
Of course, it's all just a circus.
Yes.
But the point is, let's pray for the society, priests, our brothers, and the superiors to just come back simply to the position of Archbishop Lefebvre, which is the doctrinal fight for Christ the King, for the errors of Vatican II to be condemned and resisted, and the new code and the new Mass. And they have to retract calling it legitimate, calling the new Mass legitimately promulgated. They have to retract that. And all their policies of compromise, especially in 2012, all that has to be retracted. And now's the chance. They can just come right back to 88ism, which they feared so much.
And now they come back to the concept of the state of the jurisdiction that come from the state of necessity, because they want to have the permission to make marriage, to have give confessions, and now he turned back and say it's not necessary the permission of Rome, because we have the state of necessity. They need to come back this conception of the jurisdiction and recognize that it's not necessary to have today the acceptation of the Pope.
Yes, everybody follow that. So in the last 10 years, when Pope Francis granted them jurisdiction for confessions, holy orders, and marriages, they really gloated over this, that we have jurisdiction now, and you have to sign up now as a parishioner, and if you're not a parishioner, we can't give you extreme unction. If you're not a parishioner, we can't hear your confession. That's how far it was going with some of them. Not all of them, but some of the priests of the SSPX. So now all of that's been torn away. So hopefully, as Father is saying, maybe they'll come back to realize again, this is a state of emergency that Archbishop Lefebvre saw so clearly. We're in a state of emergency. And if people ask for the sacraments, we can give it. The church supplies our jurisdiction because of the state of emergency in the church. Because they can't go to their local Novus Ordo parishes because question if they're valid, and the priests many times just don't even have the faith, right? For marriage preparations, the Novus Ordo often tells the couples, you can practice NFP, and here's how you do it. And you can limit children, which is not the teaching of the church. So, again, with the pie, with the how do you say, the mud all over their face, maybe they'll wake up and really come back to what Archbishop Lefebvre so clearly stated. The church supplies our jurisdiction because we are in a state of emergency. With these jurisdictions, they were saying, well, the emergency is no longer applied. We got recognition. But they just lost it all. So, of course, it's an invalid excommunication, of course. But with Bishop Fillet, he must recognize it. He didn't look too happy in the filming of the consecrations. He didn't look too happy. So, I don't know.
And this obsession of the legacy, you say legacy?
Legality.
Legality, the obsession to accept the new code and to collaborate with the bishops, local bishops, and the acceptation to receive a priest to assist the marriage of the priest of the society.
Yes.
That is scandalous.
Yes, that happened mostly in France, And in Canada too, a lot of society priests, to make it sure it's valid, they have a St. Peter's priest come and witness the marriage. They do that more in France. So St. Peter's priest will hear the marriage because it has the bishop's permission. Then the SSPX priest would say the Mass. So their obsession with legality, it's a wake-up call again, because this so-called excommunication strips them of all their legality. And they were so anxious to be working with the modernist bishops. I mean, meeting with them, and they were submitting all the marriages to the local diocesan bishops. They were really thinking this. And Bishop Fillet, I remember in 2013, he put out a notice to all the society priests, and the priors especially, try to meet more often with the local bishops, be on friendly terms. When before, we were always at war with them. You're modernists, you got to come back to the faith, stop the new Mass. And all this efforts of reconciliation and friendliness with the conciliar church, it's just all backfired. And who's suffered because of it? All the society priests, society faithful, and because of confusion, because of division, and loss of faith. And now there's liberal priests. I won't be surprised if a handful of SSPX priests do leave, because under Bishop Fillet, the liberals were able to prosper. So I won't be surprised if at least a small handful leave the SSPX because they're scared of the so-called excommunication. And they'll go with Rome. They'll probably join St. Peter's or get some recognition somehow. But it's not about legality right now. The fight's about the faith, as you all know. And Rome must come back to tradition, as the Archbishop Lefebvre always pleaded with Rome. If he went to Rome, he said it was not to dialogue, it was to bring Rome back to the faith, back to tradition, back to the long line of popes before us. So what they'll do will be interesting.
Yes, and they are trying to apply the new code in the many things in the society. The decisions of the new code are the application of the council, and they make a process to the society was accept the new code that have too much consequences, practical consequence in the decisions of the sacraments of the all things. That is the laws of the council, and they need to come back of all that decisions and to come back to the ancient code.
Yes.
I hope that they little by little they understand that, because it's a logic, and these decisions there is a logic, practic, and he take the decision to break with Rome, and now they accept this situation of excommunication. That is a fake excommunication, but is this rupture with Rome is not schismatic, but is a rupture, practic rupture. And they need to take all the consequences after. I hope that they take all the consequences of this event.
This event. Yeah, so when Pope John Paul II actually issued the new Code of Canon Law in 1983, the cover letter said, the new Code of Canon Law is Vatican II in practice. This code puts all of Vatican II into practical application. Hence the ecumenism. You can give communion to Protestants and to non-Catholics, which is a sacrilege. They require a mix, in a case of, I've explained this before, a mixed marriage, and a Catholic with a non-Catholic. Traditionally, in the old code, the non-Catholic has to promise to raise the children Catholic. They have to promise that. That's dropped in the new code. Freemasons can stay Catholic in the new Code of Canon Law, when before they were excommunicated. And all this whole list of compromises. So in 2012, Bishop Fillet in the Doctrinal Declaration declared, we accept the new Code of Canon Law with no distinctions. He didn't say we'll only take the laws that are in line with tradition. He didn't even say that. He just said we accept it totally, which Father Ruiz is saying is unbelievable, and it's a way of accepting Vatican II also.
There is the communion to the Protestants in the new canon, new code. There is permise give the communion to the person that not have the faith.
Mm-hmm.
There are maybe it's a mortal sin, and is permitted today to give the communion to these persons. It's a sacrilege. It's not possible.
Yes.
There are many things in the new code. There are many things that they are in a situation very ambiguous to accept all or not, or only some things. And what is the criteria is to take or not take. It's a clear, it's difficult situation for them. And each priest have his interpretation. It's more simple to accept the ancient code, and you have sure laws and sure doctrine and sure practice of the church, the tradition.
Yeah, with the old code, you have the infallible, sure laws, the practice of the church that protect the faith. With the new code, you're eating poison there, compromise. So, any other points, Father, to bring up on this?
Yes, only I insist to the spirit, the Catholic liberal, that is not the same. There are the Catholic liberal doctrinal, and there are the Catholic that have only spirit liberal. There are, we speak that in the First Testament, in the question of the Catholics that want to be conciliated with the world, modern world, with the culture moderne, that is the words of Cardinal Ratzinger, that say our preoccupation of the 16th are to conciliate the church to the 200 cycles of culture. Liberal culture.
Yeah, Cardinal Ratzinger said the purpose of Vatican II was to absorb the 2 centuries of liberal culture into the Catholic Church.
And that is the obsession of the Catholics, liberals, is to reconcile the Catholic Church to the modern world. But the modern world are liberal. There are in the laws is the doctrine liberal all place, and there is the errors moderna in the because the liberalism is relativistic, and this accept all the errors. It's very dangerous to introduce in the church the spirit liberal, and they have this spirit, and they have different methods to promote the faith, and the liberals sometimes they speak about the evangelization of the others, but with the methods liberals, and these methods liberals are introduced in the church by the Council Vatican II, and the Council Vatican II now give fruits, the conversion. Before Council Vatican II, there is a massive conversion in the Protestant countries, in England, in Germany, in the United States. There are many conversions. When the Vatican II arrived, these conversions are stopped, and there is no more conversion of Protestants. And they are now the Catholic that become Protestant. There is no fruits, because the methods liberals to promote the faith are erroneous. Erroneous. No works. And this is the method too by Bishop Fele. I don't say that he are a liberal doctrinal, but he have the spirit of the liberalism, the methods liberals, is the spirit liberal, and they want to promote the truths, and when he don't say all the truths, and they want to convert Rome, but they don't say all the truths to them. They don't announce the error, and that is very liberal, that not make the fights against the error, not fight the fight for doctrine. The liberals are more practical, and in second place can be doctrinal, but that don't work to convert the others. We must be first doctrinal and after practical. But the liberals have this practical decisions that not works to convert the others. And we need to return to the concept, the proposition of doctrine, all the doctrine, and that convert the souls. That works. But the liberals don't believe that. And that's why Rome is not convert. After the diplomacy of Bishop Fele is not convert. There is no fruits. There is no some better situation, a little better, nothing. It's worst. It's worst. Each day. And now the new Pope is openly, say the heresy is openly against Our Lady. There is no more. They make a bishop, cardinal, that is a sodomite. They make the books to promote the sex. And he said that is spiritual. That is spiritual. There is the man that take care of doctrine of the church today.
Cardinal Ferdinand. Everybody
Cardinal
following? It might be a little tough.
Cardinal's name.
Cardinal
Fernandez.
Fernandez.
Yes.
Yeah, he would be excommunicated under Pius X for sure.
Yes.
So Father he's trying to say that Bishop Fellay, his liberal approach to be silent on the errors has brought no fruit. It's a liberal spirit that he has. Maybe not doctrinally, he's not liberal. He has the Catholic teaching. He believes in the Catholic teaching, but his method is definitely liberal, which is to tone down the truth to try to convert Rome. But that all comes from the Grec period. The Grec period was in the 90s. Bishop Fellay was sending society priests to meet with this group called Grec. And it was founded by Father Michel Lalonde. And he was set up by Rome to try to, there was all these groups of priests, St. Peter priests, indult priests, and other groups. Their goal was to try to convince the Society of St. Pius X, look, we want you in the church. We want to get along with you. You don't be so outspoken about Vatican II. Don't condemn the new Mass. Tone it down. And then we can work out an agreement. That was the main gist of the Grec movement. And Bishop Fellay bought right into it. And they've been doing this ever since, this policy of tone down the truth to get practical benefits, agreement, recognition, personal prelature. But Archbishop Lefebvre often said very clearly, we cannot put practical solutions above the doctrinal defense of the faith. We must, the church, what makes us Catholics is the profession of the faith. So Rome has to come back to the faith first. There has to be first the agreement of the faith, the doctrine, then the practical solutions will come. But you can't put practical above the doctrinal, and that was the main liberal error of Bishop Fellay, his approach. And that's a danger for all of us, especially Americans who are very practical. The doctrine is first. The Gospels are first. The faith is first.
In the response of Bishop Fellay to the letter of 3 bishops, here, I understand the first doctrine, but the Pope don't want, and what you can say is to say we accept the practical agreements.
Yes, that was when the 3 bishops. How many of you read the letter of the 3 bishops in 2012 to Bishop Fellay? Yeah, it's Yeah, in a nutshell, it was the three Society of St. Pius X bishops pleading with Bishop Fillet and the leaders, please don't go in this direction, seeking a practical agreement above doctrine. It's going to cause confusion, loss of faith, division. It's not the policy of Catholicism, and especially our founder, Archbishop Lefebvre. So please turn around, don't go in this direction. And then Bishop Fillet wrote back saying, you have a sedevacantist spirit, you don't trust Rome, you don't trust me. And what was I forgot all the points he made.
He said they hope that to have the politic, the first doctrine, and after practice. But he said, the Pope don't accept, and we need to continue. That is a response.
That's right. Pope Benedict XVI said, we don't know Bishop Fillet. He said Rome will no longer tolerate this situation, so we have to pursue the practical agreement. That's what he
That's
said.
a response of Bishop Fillet.
Yeah. Rome will no longer tolerate it. Well, with Archbishop Lefebvre, then too bad for Rome. We wait till Rome comes back to tradition and pray for them. But Bishop Fillet jumped the gun, and he really pushed this liberal agreement with Rome at the price of expelling many good priests, confusing the faithful, and as I've been saying, now it's just all exploded in his face. You know, you melt metal and weld the end of the gun, you know, it's going to explode in your face. That's what they did. They thought it would work better by putting melted lead at the tip of the gun. And of course it's going to explode in your face. And that's what's happened.
And they need now to turn to the concept of the state of necessity. That they are not speak no more of that many times. And it's practically, they recognize that we have reason, but they don't want to say, Father Hewko or Father Ruiz have reason. They never say that, will say that. But we hope that they take the good decisions. But now the Cardinal Burke say these consecrations are not justified because there is no state of necessity. But you see the state of the church, you see the state of the Pope, the cardinals, there is a state of necessity, but he is not a real bishop traditionalist, because many people make confidence to the Cardinal Burke, but he prefer the state to be the submission to Rome. That is a bad option, and Cardinal Snyder too he say he accept the council, he accept the new mass, and he say the problem is only a question of interpretation. You need to make little corrections, and all is okay. That is the position of Bishop Snyder. That now in the society they promote this bishop in the society, in the media of the society, they speak well about Bishop Snyder.
Oh, they love Bishop Schneider.
Yes.
Like Father's saying, he's a liberal too. He accepts
Yes.
Vatican II. Just a few corrections and it's okay. And Archbishop Vigano called Cardinal Burke and Bishop Schneider traitors. He's right. He called them traitors. Archbishop Lefebvre would call them traitors too. They have the appearance of conservatism, and everybody, the traditionalists gather around them because they seem traditional, but they're not. They're really liberal Catholics. So they're not our friends. They betray the fight of the faith.
Maybe this is communication. I think it's opportunity for the society to return to make reparation of the errors of the past, and to protect the faithful, protect the faith of the faithful. Maybe it's a grace of God. this question. We don't know what is behind all these evenements. I don't know if in the interior of the society there are some pressure to the superiors to make the bishops, because we look that Bishop Fele want to call the bishops modernists to give the sacraments in the society. We see they call Bishop Under in Icon, they are modernists, and they looks that they want to have the sacraments of the new church. They recur to the bishops of the new church, maybe not the sacraments, but the bishops, to have the confirmation, etc., the ordinations, the holy oils, and now they take this decision that are not the same thing. That maybe there is something in the society, the high superiors that make some pressure to Bishop Fele to make these ordinations. It's possible. I am not sure with that, but it's possible.
Yeah, Father's saying that it's very possible that some of the more traditional SSPX priests pressured Father Peglariani and the leaders consecrate bishops. It needs to be done, and it does. So, are they at the top? They might not all be united, and Bishop Fillet was really, letting Bishop Huendor come into the SSPX, consecrate oils actually, and he was a modernist bishop. He never retracted his modernism. He never condemned the new Mass. He never condemned Vatican II. And here he was at a society house consecrating oils and received like a hero of the church when he was a modernist. And he's buried in Econ as well with high honors. So,
and near of Bishop Lefebvre, he's buried.
Yeah. I mean, compare that to back in the 90s when the great Bishop Lazo in the Philippines, he was a good bishop, and he started reading Archbishop Lefebvre's writings, and he realized Vatican II was bad. And he came out saying, I reject Vatican II, I reject the new Mass, I stand with Archbishop Lefebvre in tradition. And that was the right way to do it. And he was a hero. He really was a hero of tradition. He's buried in the SSPX Church in Manila in the Philippines with honors, and he deserves it because he renounced his modernism. But Huendor never did that, and he was received like a huge hero. So,
and he's buried with honors.
Very
Now
good.
in Econ,
yes,
he have a wonderful funeral.
yes,
Like he is a hero, a saint, and a big funerals. That is not serious.
no.
There is.
So any other points, Father, that you want to bring up?
I think we speak a little of things. I don't know. They speak. May make the bishops because we want to assure the validity of sacraments. You think is the reason? They make these 4 bishops to assure the validity in the future of sacraments, or not? What do you think?
Does the consecration of these 4 bishops ensure, in the mind of the SSPX leaders,
Yes.
ensure the validity? Yeah, it has to.
Because
I mean-
it can be a changement with the position when they make the document of 2012. They speak that the sacraments, the modern church, are valid and licit.
Yes.
And that looks a changement if this is the real reason that why they make bishops. We need to verify if the real intention is to be sure of the sacraments, the validity of sacraments.
There's a little contradiction because the 2012 document says we acknowledge the new sacraments and new Mass as valid and legitimately promulgated. But if that's the case, they really didn't have to consecrate bishops because the new Mass bishops can supply and the new Mass sacraments. So, Father's speculating that perhaps it's a good sign that they went ahead with the 4 bishops, because they maybe realize that we can't trust the Novus Ordo sacraments, obviously. But let's keep praying for the superiors of the SSPX and that they do come back to tradition, to the
Yes.
to the position of Archbishop Lefebvre.
Yes, but the state actual of the society was the fruit of a process of many years. You know, that beginning with the Greek, there are I don't know how many years, 30 years of this process.
Yes.
And we must not be too much, how do you say, optimist, because these processes to convert the society to the ancient situation need another processus. It's not in a day that they become the heroes of the faith. They need time to revert these
Yes.
processes, to change the people to the new conception of the priest about the Rome, and that takes time. It's not in a day, in a year. They need many years to repair this situation and this of the society.
So so Father's saying, take care not that we don't be too optimistic that the society tomorrow becomes heroes of tradition when all these 30 years they're trying to dance with the devil by compromise. So for them to really come back, it's going to take a lot of humility and courage. Humility to admit we were wrong. We betrayed the faith in some way. That would take a huge grace.
Need a process of years, of many years.
And then what will they do with all the priests that they expelled and silenced and punished? You know? So
To repair all the errors and all the injustice that Bishop Fele do against the priest, the good priest, and the good faithful, and all that need time.
yeah.
No. Yes.
So anybody have some serious questions here, Dan?
Father, it's good that you got the other building. Maybe you'll get some people looking for a place to stay.
Oh, for priests, you mean?
Yeah.
Dan is saying it's a good thing we got the log cabin at the property in New Hampshire in case some priests come from the
Yeah.
society. Well, that'd be hopeful. I mean, my hope would be the SSPX just come back to tradition, come back to the fight of tradition, and then we just go back to work. But I don't know. I don't know. Rick?
Did the SSPX ever cede any of the ownership of their properties and churches to Rome?
Did the SSPX ever give property, I doubt it, the churches and property to Rome? No, it'd be under the SSPX name,
Okay,
or
so
Bishop
no
Fillet's
pressure
name.
is
No, it didn't go that far.
that-
Yeah, didn't go that far. John?
In 1995, Father Scarra
Oh.
told me
Okay.
the lowest order of bishops and the lowest order of priests, their ordinations and consecrations are not valid. They were not done correctly. So
Can you repeat that, John? Nobody can hear you.
1995, when I became Catholic, I'm the cradle Catholic, but anyway, when I became Catholic, 1995, when I came to society, Father Scarra made it very clear that the ordination right for the priest and the consecration right for the lowest order of bishops was not valid. And if you go back and look on the internet, there's a couple of priests, the Englishman, I can't think of his name now, but you said his name before, he's dead now, but sort of heavy set, English, Irish, whatever, went through the whole thing in terms of why they're not. But that's just different. The grace of state. Bishop Fillet made the point a number of times that I heard him in Winona and down in Madison, Wisconsin, when he was there doing the seventh speech talk. He has the grace of state. So do we say that the current Pope has the grace of state? Is that a valid statement to make?
Yeah, of course. As Pope, he has all the
Well,
graces.
If he has the grace of state, then how can he be so wrong? said before, I'm excommunicated. I heard you, I listened to it. Who excommunicated me? Was it the Pope speaking infallibly, whatever that word is? Or is it some cardinal or some bishop or somebody who just said it? And what authority does he have to
Right.
speak for the Pope? So who speaks today in place of the Pope with that authority? So when they said we're excommunicated, this Cardinal Fernandez, does he have the quote authority of the, I don't know what the word is, hey, I'm just a dumb Catholic, I don't know these words. But
Yeah, I know. Well,
what I hear
don't get scared from some sodomite excommunicating you, John. It's a clown show.
well, granted,
It's a
but-
clown
but
show.
who-
Why does the Pope have his authority, and any bishop, is to protect the faith, not to destroy it. They're using it to their authority. They're misusing it, and they're rejecting the grace to use their grace of state. They're misusing it, abusing it to try to crush tradition.
But when this statement was made, is it being made? I look at it from, the C, what do they call it? The term C, CYA. That the Pope is allowing somebody downstream from him to say all this stuff, so that he can turn around and basically opt out and say, "Well, I didn't say it,
Well,
so it's all okay."
but he backs it, and obviously it's just null and void. It's a joke. It's a clown show. It's an honor. Archbishop Lefebvre would say it's an honor to be excommunicated from these destroyers of the church. It's null and void. You don't have to worry.
So do you ever see the United Society doing what the Transalpine Redemptorists have done recently in terms of?
Yeah, they went sedevacantist.
They went. Yeah, they said
Yeah.
there is no Pope.
Right. Gregory.
Just to add to your point there, the excommunication is a disciplinary measure that has been abused in the past. It's not protected by the seal of infallibility. Joan of Arc died, and her excommunication was later canonized. So it's not worth worrying over at all.
Yeah.
And then my question was, I was wondering if there was any chance you could read the decree of excommunication so we could hear the exact verbiage that's used and what exactly we're excommunicated for.
Yeah. Well, can we find that? Yeah, it's out there. Let's see. The decree of excommunication. He wants to have it. It's short.
No, that was a real.
On July 2nd, 2026, the Vatican issued a decree of excommunication for the leaders of the SSPX. Let's find the actual. Here it is. Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith, which used to be called the Inquisition. Despite the warnings addressed to the Superior General of the Priestly Society of St. Pius X, Bishop Alfonso de Galarreta, by carrying out an act of schismatic nature through the episcopal consecration of 4 priests without a pontifical mandate and against the will of the Supreme Pontiff, has incurred ipso facto the penalties provided for in Canon 1387 and Canon 1347, paragraph 1 of the 2021 Code of Canon Law. Therefore, I declare with all juridical effects that the aforementioned Bishop Alfonso de Galarreta, together with Pascal Schreiber, Michael Goldaddy, Michel Poinsinet de Sevry, and Marc Hanapier, these are the 4 bishops, have incurred ipso facto the late sententia excommunication reserved to the Apostolic See. I further declare that the Bishop Bernard Follet, having participated directly in the liturgical celebration as co-consecrator, and thereby having publicly adhered to the schismatic act, has incurred the late sententia excommunication provided for in Canon 1364, paragraph 1 of the 2021 Code of Canon Law. Clerics and lay faithful are warned not to adhere to the schism of the Priestly Society of St. Pius X, lest they themselves incur ipso facto the penalty of late sententia excommunication, given at the Palace of the Dicastery, July 2nd, 2026, and signed by the sodomite rainbow flag waving Victor Manuel Cardinal Fernandez.
The modernist Inquisition.
This is this is the modernist Inquisition. That's true.
It doesn't say the laity was excommunicated.
Well, it sounds like it warns them. The faithful can come under it too. So it's laughable. It's lamentable, really. Peter.
How can you add on to that? Yeah, just, oh, by the way, this might happen to you, but without the previous two excommunications, they're citing canon law, and those bits of canon law talk about consecrating a bishop. Now, I'm not certain lay folk. I don't try and consecrate bishops. So how can you consecrate laity under the premise of having consecrated bishops? It's absurd. It's a flippant use of language. So it's an empty threat. Because you can't just say you're excommunicated, you have to base it on law.
Yes.
That's the whole point. So
yeah. But who is Rome punishing here? It's Catholic tradition. They don't want tradition. You see what I read yesterday about all the Freemasons? We will destroy Catholic tradition. So they're coming after us. So, the prophecies say that this conciliar church will join with the state to persecute Catholic tradition by blood. So we got to be ready for that. And Andrew.
The devil is telling us not to receive valid sacraments, or else he'll send us to hell. Pretty much.
Yeah, don't go to traditional sacraments. Yeah. Yes. Gavril.
Yeah, I was just wondering, how does this put them, the society, in this position? They've compromised so much so far, to the point where in normal times they would be excommunicated for their compromises. Like
That's true, actually.
True Catholic Pope and the See of St. Peter, they would be normally excommunicated already. So how does this work with their own,
Well, maybe they wouldn't be excommunicated, but they certainly would be warned. They would be warned. Yeah.
I mean, like with the, so it's kind of like they're being excommunicated by a church by a pope who would be normally excommunicated.
That's right.
But they're adhering to the same things that you would be normally excommunicated for.
That's true, isn't it? The Archbishop Lefebvre said, "We are excommunicated by those who themselves should be excommunicated." So it's an abuse of authority.
But then in this position, they're adhering to the same things that this pope would have been excommunicated for. So it's kind of like.
I know, it's a clown show. Our poor church. That's John.
Yeah, I was thinking, how do we trust them? Say they renounce the doctrine of declaration, the new mass, Vatican II. How do we know for sure that they're really going to renounce those and kind of go back to normal situation?
Okay, John is asking, how can you trust if Bishop Fillet does renounce the doctrinal declaration, does renounce all the compromises, how can you trust that? Well, you'd have to make it very clear doctrinally.
Yes.
And invite and tell the resistance priests, you were right all along. Thank you very much for preserving. And let's come back to the position of Archbishop Lefebvre.
Yes, for the faithful of the resistance, not be many optimists of the situation of the society. It's not the time, because there are maybe some people, they say, now we can go to the mass of the society. No, it's not the moment. We need more evidence that the society is converted. Mm-hmm. It's not the time to go to the masses, to the society now. We need more time, maybe years, to see if the society, there is a real evolution to the ancient positions. But it's not sufficient to make a bishops and to make a beautiful homily where there is no denunciation of Vatican II. They speak beautiful words against the faith, no, for the defense to the faith, to the fight against the world, but it's not sufficient. There is we need more time but it's no good. It's not the moment to collaborate with them or to go to the mess with them. It's not the moment.
Yeah, that's
We need more time.
Very good point from Father. This doesn't mean you can go to the SSPX masses and all is okay, because just because they consecrated bishops, they're still not solving the doctrinal points, which are Vatican II and New Mass are taking souls to hell, and we got to renounce them. Doctor?
What other direction can they go in? It seems like they did this decision to consecrate the bishops knowing that they're going to get excommunicated. So the only direction they have left is to go back.
Let's hope. Well, you're right. So let's hope they do
Otherwise, they're
that.
going to be floundering between, okay,
Right.
we can't be with Rome anymore, and we're really not a society anymore, so
Right.
who are they? So it seems like the only reason why they would consecrate bishops is to either test Rome and saying, hey, are you going to let us do this? And if not, then we're going back.
But are they going to go back on the doctrine? Let's hope for that. They have to, but
To turn it to all the doctrine, not partially doctrine, all the doctrine.
Yeah.
When the society come back to all the doctrine, it's possible to collaborate with them, but not partially come back. You need totality, return to the doctrine,
to
the
the
good doctrine, integral doctrine.
Catholic faith.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, it's time for lunch. Just one more.
So you were both part of SSPX. Are there enough traditional SSPX believing priests within the society to help this come to fruition? Or has there just been a mass conversion to liberalism?
Well, a lot of them know we're right because they used to be with us on this position. The St. Pius X priests. I don't know what they're going to do because they've slid so far already.
I mean the priests, not
I know the priests.
not
I
the
know
management or that.
some of them might realize and come and help us. It might be possible. I hope. I know some priests are sympathetic with our position because they used to hold our position. Will they do something about it? I don't know. We'll see. So, anyway, keep the fight, keep praying, and Our Lady has all the solutions.
Yes.
Okay, thanks,
Yeah,
Father. We'll
thank
go
you.
straight to lunch.